Tonight, we are 1 week away
All right.
from riding, running, and walking to fund the fight against cancer.
We go every Saturday and we practice jogging and walking.
And while the whys may change,
I'm riding out here for my mom, and she passed away November 21st, 2024.
Is there any family, sadly, that hasn't been touched by cancer in one way or another?
the mission does not.
We need to raise more funds so we can make more advancements and get this disease under control.
Tonight, South Florida comes together as one team to take part in one fight to beat cancer. Hi there, I'm Lauren Pastrana, and welcome to this CBS News Miami special, Challenging Cancer. I'm here at the Miami International Autodrome at Hard Rock Stadium near the finish line for this year's Dolphins Cancer Challenge. The event, now in its 15th year, is just 1 week away. And over the course of the next half hour, we're going to get you ready for the event that's raised more than $75 million for research at Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center since it first started back in 2010. The CBS Miami team is pumped to be taking part. For participants, there's a common bond. They carry with them what it's like to be affected by cancer and the desire to see a cure for the disease in all of its forms. That's especially true for Marianne Cohen of Parkland, a cancer fighter who's taking part in her first DCC.
Go get a toy.
Marianne Cohen has a lot to smile about these days, not just because of her mischievous dog Sparky, who tried to steal the show during our interview, but also because of the story she's here to tell.
Happy to be here for one. It's kind of all surreal, the whole journey.
Surreal because she's a cancer fighter. She battled the disease for 9 months, but her story is different because her breast cancer was found in an unusual place.
I was diagnosed with an occult triple-negative breast cancer, which the occult part of it says that it was not in my breast, it was found in my lymph nodes.
A diagnosis found not in a mammogram, but in a breast MRI.
I'm extremely, extremely lucky because I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you because I wouldn't have been doing this and gone through that journey of it.
Now, she's cancer-free, preparing to take part in the 15th Dolphins Cancer Challenge.
I am excited. I am.
Something she's been preparing for since September.
I was a little out of shape, and I have an upcoming wedding in May of my son, and the timing was perfect with the programming and to get in shape and be part of the new me.
The new Marianne, but with some familiar and necessary traits. A fighter through and through, finding inspiration in her parents' memories.
Both of my parents were Holocaust survivors, so they really had to fight for their lives to be alive. And that's definitely something inbred I totally feel, and kind of always felt them by my side.
That feeling turned to inspiration found in a butterfly in her yard not long after her diagnosis. Its coloring, she said, reminded her of her mother. So she named it Bella Butterfly, the butterfly becoming a sign to Cohen.
You can do this, and that was a lot of my inspiration besides my kids and future. But yeah, knowing that I could do this and they would be proud.
Cohen is taking part in the DCC 5K next week. We certainly wish her good health into the future. So why Sylvester? For starters, it's the only National Cancer Institute designated cancer center in all of South Florida, with 120 new clinical trials in 2023 alone. The 2,500 physicians, scientists, and support staff there are saving lives daily, thanks in large part to funding raised through the DCC. We spoke to one doctor who believes in the mission so deeply, she laces up and walks in the event herself.
On your data sheet, you have space for 3 measurements.
You wouldn't know by looking at it, but the work happening in this crowded conference room is critical to cancer research.
Has this been helpful to have everybody in the same room doing this today? Yes.
These people are being trained to gather data that could lead to the next big medical breakthrough. And their work is made possible thanks to funding, some of which comes from donations raised by the Dolphins Cancer Challenge.
We have this incredible partnership that allows us to do things that no other cancer center can do. We can run programs like Believe in You. We can hire the brightest talent. We can have the best equipment. And it allows us to recruit in not only, the top of the line scientists and physicians, but it attracts younger, like our brightest minds that are the future.
Dr. Tracy Crane is the Director of Lifestyle Medicine and Prevention and Digital Health at Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center. She's also a longtime DCC participant.
I get to go out there with 160 survivors and their support people this year and be able to participate with all of them. The energy between the cyclists coming in over the finish line, even just having all of these people who are there together for the common purpose of trying to, fight cancer and to make things better. It's an incredible day and an incredible moment.
For Dr. Crane, her brand of lifestyle medicine means the focus isn't only on a cure. It's also on reducing symptoms, improving quality of life, and making treatments work better to improve outcomes long term.
So I would say cancer is definitely, in most cases, not a death sentence, right? It's scary and it is a hard thing to go through, and it's a family, your whole support system goes through it with you. And it can be life-changing. But it doesn't mean it's the end. There's so much you can do and so much hope.
Hope that's amplified through the DCC.
This bolster of money that can come into Sylvester from something like the DCC can allow us to get to what we call pilot data. It's like the first preliminary findings that you need to then go after these larger federal grants. And so it can significantly shorten the time that we are able to get to finding an answer. And if I could bottle it up, I could sell it, because it is an incredible day, just full of, happiness and hope and, talking about the future. And that's what we're really after. We're after the future for all these survivors and making it the best it can be.
Preparations for this year's Dolphins Cancer Challenge began pretty much immediately after last year's event. So much goes on behind the scenes of a fundraiser of this magnitude, but it's not just event organizers doing the heavy lifting. Participants do their fair share of training as well, including our very own chief meteorologist.
Let's get you ready for tomorrow. It is going to be a cool start. And
CBS News Miami chief meteorologist Ivan Cabrera helps us get ready for the day with his forecast, so he knows planning and preparation are crucial. Armed with shoes, helmet, and his bike,
It's carbon. That's why. Yours aluminum.
he made sure to complete a few training rides in the lead up to this year's DCC.
I'm excited. This is my third year riding, and the CBS Miami team is ready to go.
Ivan will be completing the 39-mile ride, and for him, like so many, pedaling is personal.
I miss my mom, I lost her 10 years ago to cancer. I'm grateful for all the time we had, but I wish I had had some more.
He says his mother, Josefa, is always on his mind while he rides.
I feel her wind on my back, looking down on me and being proud of me. And for me, that's, when I really need the motivation, because at the end of these rides, we get super tired, but it's nothing compared to what she went through. So for me, yes, absolutely. That's one of the driving forces that pushes me to get to that finish line.
Ivan's not the only one who takes preparing for the DCC seriously. On a very cold January morning, dozens gathered in Coral Gables for their own training ride.
To have over 100 people get up at 5 a.m. and come to Max Cycle and ride, 50, 60, 70 miles in training for the DCC is not only fun and is a great opportunity to get to know other cyclists in the community, but it's getting them ready for the Dolphins Cancer Challenge. So we're incredibly fortunate that all these people are so passionate to support the cause.
I'm riding out here for my mom, and she passed away November 21st, 2024. She's my big warrior. She's my wife.
While temps were in the 50s for that training ride, it shouldn't be quite as cold for the DCC. But one thing's for sure, there's a 100% chance of challenging cancer.
We need to raise more funds so we can make more advancements and get this disease under control so that you don't have to spend years without the people you love.
All of that training will be put to the test next Saturday. I'm near the starting line of the Miami International Autodrome, and it'll of course be decked out for the DCC next week. And even if you're not coming, be aware it could have an impact on your plans. CBS News Miami's Austin Carter breaks down the traffic impacts for us.
Hi, Lauren. The impact of this event is much bigger than what's just happening at Hard Rock Stadium. For Miami Gardens residents, traffic will be affected in the area. So quickly, I do want to show you the route of the 5K. I know you're taking part in that before a special next weekend. So that's confined to the track used for the world famous Miami Grand Prix. Now next, I want to show you the race that's going to have the most impact across South Florida. That's the 99-mile Jason Taylor ride. So just look through this map. It starts and finishes at Hard Rock, taking riders through Miami, over the Julia Tuttle Causeway, up Collins Avenue on Miami Beach, and then later through Fort Lauderdale and through Davie and Pembroke Pines, and that's all on the way back to the stadium. Then the 54-mile Zach Thomas ride takes you through Golden Beach, Fort Lauderdale. It goes along Fort Lauderdale Beach, and then it runs through State Road 84. That's through Davie and Cooper City, also Pembroke Pines and Miramar, before arriving back at Hard Rock Stadium. Now, this is the route for the 39-mile Larry Zonka ride. It starts at the University of Miami in Coral Gables and then travels through Coral Gables itself, Coconut Grove, then over the Julia Tuttle Causeway to Miami Beach. It'll then run north through Surfside and Bal Harbor before heading over to the finish line. And the 13-mile Dan Marino ride is the DCC's largest. The ride is mostly through Miami Gardens towards Opa-locka Airport and then back again. So Lauren, we should also note the Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas rides, they take between 3 and 9 hours to complete, so there are closures that will last well into the early afternoon. I'm Austin Carter, CBS News, Miami.
Austin, thank you. So what will happen here next week is truly something special, and that's in part because of something known as supportive care.
We go every Saturday and we practice jogging and walking, and we do that usually about a mile, a little over a mile. And then they have like circuit training for us with balance and strength training. And it's just, it's amazing to be part of that.
See how it's helping them prepare for the DCC. Their story next. The DCC is celebrating 15 years of fighting cancer this year. For 14 of them, Robert Merlin has been here, taking on the challenge and making a big difference with his fundraising effort. He does it in honor of his wife, sister, and daughter, who have all battled the disease and won. Robert Merlin is a cancer fighter, even though he's never been diagnosed himself. He's been the son, brother, father, and husband of someone battling cancer.
Is there any family, sadly, that hasn't been touched by cancer in one way or another?
Michelle and Robert Merlin's daughter, Elisa, was diagnosed with a brain tumor almost 7 years ago, just months after giving birth to her own daughter.
I was in shock and fear, and just sitting there while she's having her initial examination, which was at a different hospital, and there was a plan suggested to us for care or for treatment that we didn't like, it didn't make sense to us.
That's when their primary physician recommended going to Sylvester for a second opinion. Elisa had surgery to remove the tumor, followed by radiation, and she's now cancer-free.
It's just a great relationship, and we can't express our appreciation enough to what they have done for Elisa and our family.
You know, some patients view themselves as just numbers. Dr. De La Fuente, I know, views Elisa as family, and Elisa the same in return.
But this wasn't the last time the Merlins turned to Sylvester for treatment. In 2019, Michelle herself was diagnosed with breast cancer. Robert's sister also tackled the disease. Both caught it early and are healthy today. His mother had lung cancer, but sadly, it was too advanced. With so many loved ones touched by cancer, it's no wonder Robert, a second-generation South Floridian and lifelong Dolphins fan, hopped on his bike 14 years ago and started riding for a cure.
It was 100 miles the first day, stay overnight in Palm Beach, and then ride 75 back.
This year, he's pedaling for 54 miles. Robert has helped raise more than $250,000, making him one of the event's heavy hitters. He uses email to make the ask and says no donation is too small.
I'm competitive and I am goal-oriented, so if I set the goal, I want to achieve it. And I've set high goals for raising money, and I've done pretty well in my efforts. It's a large amount of money. It's never enough because there's always more work that can be done, but I know that all sorts of people I will never meet are being helped, and it's a wonderful feeling.
Michelle is also riding this year for herself, for her daughter, and for her father, Stuart Danoff, who faced his own cancer fight. He believes so strongly in the mission that he became a member of the Sylvester Board of Overseers in the early years of the Cancer Center. Many DCC participants do it in honor or in memory of someone they love. But some are cancer fighters and survivors themselves. And as we found out, Sylvester doesn't just offer cancer care, it also helps prepare patients for this very event.
Such a tranquil place to come to just tend to the garden and just kind of escape.
Donna Scott finds peace and joy in her backyard garden.
And these are packed petunias.
It's a passion project she started over 5 years ago, right around the time she got the news that changed her life.
He said to me, I need to talk to you. As soon as I heard that, I knew that I had cancer. And basically, life stops at that point when you hear those words. And it was a very scary thing to hear.
Donna was diagnosed with breast cancer, specifically grade 0 ductal carcinoma in situ. But she caught it early thanks to routine screenings. Her husband is a critical care physician at Sylvester, so there was no doubt where she wanted to get her treatment.
Getting the diagnosis of cancer isn't easy, but knowing that Sylvester was there, they helped guide me through that whole process and made it a little bit easier.
After a lumpectomy to remove the cancer, 20 radiation treatments, and then ringing the bell, Donna joined Sylvester's survivorship and supportive care program, which includes Believe in You, a 5-month training for survivors and their loved ones to prepare them to walk, run, or ride in the Dolphins Cancer Challenge.
We go every Saturday and we practice jogging and walking, and we do that usually about a mile, a little over a mile. And then they have like circuit training for us with balance and strength training. And it's amazing to be part of that. We have a lot of new people this year, which is amazing. We all encourage each other.
Your last treatment. She's not only participating for herself, she's also fighting for her mother, who was recently diagnosed. This will be Donna's second DCC, and she says there's nothing like the feeling of being surrounded by people joined together by one common mission.
It was incredible, the energy that was around me. Everybody was excited to be there. We all had a goal, and we wanted to finish our goal, which was either running, walking, or biking. But we push each other, and it's incredible, and it's all for the DCC.
They are the family at the heart of the DCC's mission, started 15 years ago in support of their dad, the late, great Jim Mad Dog Mandich. Their thoughts on how far the DCC has come, next. The Dolphins Cancer Challenge started 15 years ago to support Dolphins great Jim Mad Dog Mandich. Since 2010, it's become the NFL's largest fundraiser, with last year's event bringing in over $12 million. I sat down with the Mandich family recently to find out what this means to them. Can you believe it's been 15 years?
No, I can't. Probably have a few more gray hairs since that point in time, but it's wonderful. What it's morphed into is just one. It's amazing that it's grown to this level.
His legacy has gone well beyond football.
He had a wonderful career, but it was 10 years. 10 years of his entire life was at in a professional level of football. But this, it's already at 15 years, and you can foresee another 15, 30. 50 years of this event going on that far dwarf the impact he made on a field or in the booth here at the stadium.
So many people, not just Dolphins fans, but football fans, hear your dad's name and they have memories of him, so many amazing things that they have to say about him. What do you think of when you think of Jim Mandich?
I always have this. I have this photo in my office, and it was us taking off from the stadium that initial year in 2010, and my dad was riding out, and he mustered the energy to go on that initial loop. And having not been a real bike rider, I was embarking on 172 miles over 2 days. So it was going to be quite the effort and journey. I didn't even have clips, nothing. I was, but I felt like that was the least I could do was, try to make it as hard as possible on me and inspire others to do their own part. Our name is everything in life, and your reputation, and he would always say, you can build something up for a lifetime and you can ruin it in 5 minutes. So it became ever more important that me and my brothers, after the fact, could live a high standard of life, do something that, invariably, my biggest wish is when I'm gone, that this is still here and it's making an impact to my children's. So if we can do that, that would be the most amazing thing we can all do in this world.
What would your dad and your mom make of where this event is today?
Oh, I think he'd be a little shocked. It was just 300 people when we initially started, and to see where it's several thousand people coming out, I think he would be incredibly proud. He'd probably go, "All right, Miami," or some great saying that he would have, and he would have come out for years and years if certainly if he would have survived. So, but in his memory, I feel incredibly proud to be honored as a Grand Marshal, really in his stead as much as it is how much effort I've put forth and our family has put forth. I feel more honored because it's kind of in memory of him.
Are you ready to ride, run, or walk? Remember, even if you're not taking part in this year's DCC, it's going to impact traffic around South Florida next Saturday. Things kick off here at Hard Rock Stadium at 6 a.m. That's when the 99-mile riders take off for what's estimated to be a 7 to 9 hour ride. The 54-mile ride starts at 8 a.m. here at Hard Rock Stadium. That ride lasts 3 to 5 hours. The 39-mile ride starts at 8:30 at the University of Miami in Coral Gables. It'll take 2 to 3 hours for riders to make it back here to Hard Rock Stadium. The 13-mile ride from here at Hard Rock starts at 10 a.m. and those riders will be out for between 30 and 90 minutes. 5K participants, they get walking and running at 10:45. And if you can't make it next week here in person, we hope you'll join us next Saturday at noon as we bring you a live CBS News Miami special, Challenging Cancer. For now, that'll do it from Hard Rock Stadium. I'm Lauren Pastrana. We'll see you right here next Saturday.